This is a video explaining about the problem in handwriting in children.
Do you know what condition that associated with handwriting? So, the condition that is associated with handwriting problem is dysgraphia. So, what is dysgraphia? Dysgraphia is a neurological disorder and learning difference in which a person has trouble writing at an appropriate level for their age. So, this can include problems with writing itself or problems with turning thoughts into written language. Thus, dysgraphia or inability to write legibly is the disorder characterized by poor handwriting. Writing quickly and learning to spell words in writing can both be hampered by poor handwriting, solely impaired handwriting, only impaired spelling without reading issues, or both impaired handwriting and impaired spelling are possible in children with dysgraphia. The next condition is dyslexia, which is regarded as a language-based learning impairment and a reading disability, but also has an effect on children's writing skills. As we all know, writing issues are frequently present in dyslexic kids. For instance, students with dyslexia often struggle with writing, which can show up in a variety of ways in their writing, such as poor spelling, poor legibility, a lack of diversified vocabulary, weak concept development, and lack of structure in handwriting.
Next, we will look at the types of dysgraphia. According to Emily Finn, there are 5 types of dysgraphia, and a child can present with more than one type of dysgraphia. The first type is dyslexic dysgraphia. Children with dyslexic dysgraphia may present with poor spontaneous written work and illegibility, but the copied word can be good. However, the spelling typically is affected. The children have difficulties with letter formation and shape on their own and present with minimal fine motor deficit, but usually the speed and dexterity for fine motor speed tend to be normal. This is the example of illegibly written word in dyslexic dysgraphia. The second type of dysgraphia is motor dysgraphia, and according to the author, this is the most common type of dysgraphia in children. Motor dysgraphia is usually caused by poor fine motor skill, poor dexterity, and muscle tone. Written work for this student is poor, too illegible handwriting, and copied work is affected. The letter formation in short sample of writing may be acceptable, but they may need extra effort and time, and they are unable to sustain letter formation or neat writing for any length of time. Their writing could be crooked due to poor grasp to hold a pencil correctly and tend to use more pressure to write. They may present with darker writing or inconsistent pressure due to limitation in fine motor skill. Usually, their spelling is not affected. Pictures 2 and 3 are the example of students with motor dysgraphia. Picture 2 shows that the children present with poor grasp, and picture 3 is the inconsistent pressure handwriting of the children with motor dysgraphia. Next, the third type is spatial dysgraphia. It is commonly due to a visual spatial deficit. Students may present with poor and illegible copied and spontaneous work, which both types of handwriting are affected. Basically, the students have normal spelling and fine motor skill, but they have difficulty in baseline placement and spacing to keep their handwriting on the line with spacing between words. Picture 4 shows the students writing with spatial dysgraphia with difficulty to identify where the line is and to keep the letters on line. As we can see from the picture, it is the student handwriting on line 3 and 4 without prompting. The fourth type is phonological dysgraphia, which present with writing and spelling difficulties. The spelling is usually unfamiliar words, non-words, and phonetically irregular words is impaired. Besides, they have difficulty with phonemes in memory and blending them in appropriate sequences to produce the target word. The last type of dysgraphia is lexical dysgraphia. This is where the child can spell but relies on sound to Latin pattern with misspelling of irregular words. This type of dysgraphia is usually rare in children.
Now, we will see the causes of developmental dysgraphia, agraphia, and also dyslexia. Written expression is a complex nature that makes finding the cause difficult. Writing involves integration of spatial and linguistic functions, planning, memory, and motor output. This suggests involvement of both the left and right hemispheres for skills in decoding, spelling, formulating, and sequencing ideas. Scientists and neurologists are not clear of the causes of developmental dysgraphia. It has been suggested to be a neurological processing disorder that usually occurs on its own and can result in other dysfunctions such as attention deficit, auditory or visual processing weakness, and also sequencing problems. For agraphia, or also known as acquired dysgraphia, it is an impairment of loss of a previous ability to write. Agraphia can be caused from brain damage in multiple cortical and subcortical regions of the central nervous system. For example, heat trauma, malignancy, seizures, infectious and inflammatory or autoimmune diseases. On the other hand, dyslexia is hereditary. However, the teaching quality and home literacy highly impact the child's reading ability. Twin studies have shown that reading difficulties are highly heritable, and recent genetic studies have found several small genes that affect reading development. These genes affect neuron migration, cortical morphogenesis, the outgrowth of neurites, and the structure and function of cilia.
Now, let's take a look effect in student performance. The effect of dysgraphia in student performance is when a child compares his or her talents to those of their friends. They develop low self-esteem and low confidence. This effect will lead a child likely to ignore their academic and will also drop out of school and cause socializing problems with their peers. Secondly, increased stress and anxiety in a school-aged youngster as a result of difficulty keeping up in class. As a result of difficulty following with the class, stress and anxiety will increase among school-aged children. This effect might cause a child to skip class as stressed and might have a problem in performing their role as a student. Next, poor perseverance with handwriting activity which put a child at risk of getting disinterested in an educational and academic context as it will fail academically. A child will have a thought that he or she is not good at academic will just give up on it. Moreover, having handwriting skill problem make it difficult and challenging for a child to achieve academic requirements. This because the academic requirement need a child to perform well in writing and spelling. Lastly, a child with handwriting problem will have difficulty finishing examination due to failing to answer all questions on paper within the time given. This is because academic requirement also have an examination to evaluate the student based on their knowledge.